Discovery and First Contact. The mining vessel Helios drifted through the Kuiper Belt, its massive harvesting array scooping chunks of ice and rock from the darkness beyond Neptune. Captain Sarah Chen watched from the bridge as automated systems sorted valuable minerals from worthless debris. 23 months into a 3-year expedition, the crew of 47 had settled into the monotonous rhythm of deep space mining. "Captain, we've got something unusual in Sector 7, called Thomas, the senior sensor operator." His voice carried an edge that made Chen straighten in her chair. "Define unusual," she replied, moving to his station. Thomas pointed to the readout. "The harvesters just picked up something embedded in a medium-sized asteroid. It's giving off energy readings unlike anything I've seen before." Chen studied the display. The object was perfectly symmetrical, approximately 3 meters long, with a surface that seemed to absorb sensor scans rather than reflect them. "Halt harvesting operations in that sector," she ordered. "Prep the research shuttle. I want a closer look." 6 hours later, Chen floated in space beside the object, now partially excavated from its rocky prison. Her breath fogged her helmet as she examined the smooth obsidian-like surface. No seams, no rivets, no signs of conventional manufacturing. "This isn't human technology," she whispered into her comm. "What do you think it is?" asked Dr. Hiroshi Yamada, the ship's science officer, who hovered nearby. "I don't know," Chen admitted, "but I'm certain it wasn't made by human hands." Yamada moved closer, his gloved hand reaching toward the object. "Look at these markings. Some kind of scriptor." The moment his fingers brushed the surface, a pulse of blue light erupted from the object. Chen was thrown backward, her tether yanking tight as the asteroid itself seemed to shudder. "What did you do?" she demanded. "Nothing. I barely touched it." The object now glowed with increasing intensity, patterns of light dancing across its surface in complex, rhythmic sequences. A beam of concentrated energy shot upward from one end, disappearing into the vastness of space. "Get back to the ship," Chen ordered. "Now." Back aboard the Helios, the crew watched in stunned silence as the object continued to emit its beam. Sensor readings showed the energy signature was unlike anything in human databases, a directed transmission of immense power cutting through space like a knife. "It's a beacon," Yamada said finally. "Some kind of interstellar transmitter." "Transmitting what?" Chen asked. The science officer's face was grim. "Everything. It scanned our ship, our technology, possibly even our biological makeup. It's broadcasting who we are and where to find us." Chen felt ice form in her stomach. To whom? No one had an answer. The Helios transmitted all data about the discovery back to Earth. Within days, the vessel was ordered to maintain position, while a science vessel from the United Earth Space Agency rushed to investigate. The beacon continued its broadcast, unstoppable, its power source seemingly infinite. 3 weeks after the beacon's activation, deep space monitoring stations detected movement at the edge of the solar system. 7 massive objects, each larger than any human vessel, were approaching at tremendous speed. Admiral Victor Torres stood in Earth Defense Command headquarters, watching as holographic displays tracked the approaching vessels. "First contact," someone whispered. The room hummed with nervous energy. "Any response to our greeting transmissions?" Torres asked. "None, sir," replied Communications Officer Lin. "We've tried all frequencies, mathematical sequences, even analog radio. They're receiving but not responding." The alien vessels crossed Neptune's orbit in hours, not days. Detailed scans revealed ships of impossible size and complexity, the smallest equal to a small city, the largest nearly the size of Manhattan. "Deployment status?" Torres asked his XO. "Luna Defense Grid is at full readiness. Mars Colonial Guard is mobilized. The 3rd and 7th Fleets are positioning at the asteroid belt." Torres nodded grimly. Despite humanity's significant advances in space warfare, he knew their defenses were positioned mainly to deter other human factions, not unknown alien threats. The approaching armada made Earth's most powerful warships look like toys. "Sir," Lynn called out suddenly, "we're receiving a transmission. It's in English." The message played throughout the command center, its tone flat and mechanical. "Humanity, we have received your signal. We have studied your data. Your species has been categorized as extinction level threat. Your technological development trajectory, resource consumption patterns, and historical aggression markers indicate 98.7% probability of interstellar destabilization within 200 years. Containment protocols have been initiated. Resistance is inadvisable but anticipated." The transmission ended. Silence filled the command center. "Containment protocols?" someone finally asked. They didn't have to wait long for clarification. The smallest alien vessel fired a concentrated beam of energy at an unmanned monitoring station near Jupiter. The station, along with a 50-kilometer radius of space around it, simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris, just empty space where matter had been. "My God," Torres whispered. Earth's combined defense fleets engaged the alien armada near Mars. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than 6 hours. Human vessels, the pride of Earth's military might, were systematically eliminated. Mars colony's orbital defenses were neutralized. The alien fleet continued its inexorable approach toward Earth, methodically destroying every human outpost in their path. In a bunker deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the Security Council of the United Earth Government convened an emergency session. "The Mars defensive line has fallen," Torres reported, his hologram flickering in the center of the room. "We've lost 82% of our space-based military assets. At their current pace, the alien fleet will reach Earth in approximately 72 hours. Conventional weapons are ineffective," asked Chancellor Adeyemi. "Completely. Our most powerful weapons barely register on their shields." Defense Minister Liu leaned forward. "Then we have no choice. We must activate the contingency." A heavy silence fell over the room. The contingency was never meant to be used, a last resort so terrible that its very existence was known to only 12 people in the entire solar system. "The ethical implications," began one council member, "are irrelevant in the face of human extinction." Liu cut in. "We're out of options." Chancellor Adeyemi closed her eyes briefly, then nodded. "Admiral Torres, you are hereby authorized to execute the Lazarus Protocol. May whatever gods exist forgive us for what we're about to unleash." Torres's hologram nodded grimly before disappearing. In his command center, he approached a secured terminal, inserted his command key, and entered a 16-digit code. A hidden screen emerged from the console, displaying 3 locations scattered throughout the outer solar system. "Sir," questioned his XO, "what's the Lazarus Protocol?" Torres's face was etched with dread and determination. "Something worse than our enemies. Much worse. In 3 remote locations beyond Neptune's orbit, automated systems suddenly activated. Power flowed into facilities that had remained dormant for decades. In massive hangars sealed from human contact, lights flickered to life, illuminating 3 vessels unlike any others in humanity's arsenal. Ships that had been deemed too dangerous to ever use. Ships whose very existence violated every ethical boundary of warfare. Ships built during humanity's darkest hours, then hidden away in shame. The Ghost Fleet was awakening, unleashing the Forbidden Fleet. Dr. Eliza Reyes hadn't seen another human being in 17 years. As the caretaker of Outpost Tartarus, her only companions were the AI systems monitoring the massive hangar and the sleeping beast within it. When the activation codes arrived, she felt a peculiar mixture of dread and relief. The nightmare she had guarded was about to be unleashed, but her lonely vigil was finally ending. "Activation sequence initiated," announced the facility AI. "Preliminary systems online." Reyes watched through reinforced windows as the enormous vessel stirred to life. The HSS Thanatos was a slender, obsidian monstrosity nearly 2 kilometers long. Unlike the utilitarian designs of conventional warships, it resembled a massive predatory creature with segments that seemed to shift and realign as power flowed through its systems. "What have we done?" she whispered. Similar scenes played out at two other secret facilities. At Outpost Erebus, buried within a hollowed-out asteroid, Dr. Marcus Wong observed the awakening of the HSS Nemesis. Unlike its sister ship, the Nemesis was bulky and asymmetrical, its hull studded with technology that defied conventional understanding. At Outpost Charon, hidden in the shadow of a nameless moon, Commander James Rodriguez supervised the activation of the HSS Phobos, the smallest but perhaps most terrifying of the three vessels. Each ship represented a different approach to warfare so advanced and horrific that a unanimous global treaty had banned their use except in the face of human extinction. That day had come. Admiral Torres addressed the three facility commanders via secure quantum link. "The Lazarus Protocol is in effect. You are authorized to deploy your vessels against the alien threat. May God help us all." Dr. Rice boarded the Thanatos with a minimal crew of 20 specialists, all awakened from cryosleep, volunteers who had agreed decades ago to operate the vessel if ever needed. As they approached the bridge, Lieutenant Sarah Hassan broke the silence. "Is it true what they say about this ship, that it can unmake matter?" Rice nodded grimly. "The Thanatos utilizes quantum destabilization technology. It doesn't destroy targets in the conventional sense. It unravels the quantum bonds holding matter together. Like the aliens did to our outposts," Hassan observed. "Yes, we built these ships after glimpsing similar technology during the Proxima incident. The difference is, we had no idea how to control it properly." On the bridge, Rice took her position at the command station. The ship's systems interfaced directly with her neural implants, flooding her mind with information. "All systems online," she reported to Torres. "Thanatos is combat ready." "Nemesis reports ready," came Wong's voice. "Phobos is operational," added Rodriguez. Torres's hologram nodded. "The alien fleet has breached the lunar defense perimeter. Earth has less than 6 hours. Your orders are simple. Stop them at any cost." The three forbidden warships moved with impossible speed, crossing vast distances without conventional propulsion. They operated on principles that violated the known laws of physics, another reason they had been locked away. Aboard the Nemesis, Dr. Wong activated the ship's most controversial system, the Cognitive Warfare Array. Unlike conventional weapons, the CWA targeted consciousness itself. Developed from forbidden research on artificial neural networks, it could theoretically interfere with any mind, organic or artificial. "CWA coming online," he reported, targeting alien command networks. On the Phobos, Commander Rodriguez prepared the ship's nanotechnological weapons, swarms of self-replicating machines programmed to disassemble enemy technology at the molecular level. "Deployment pods ready," he confirmed, waiting for optimal range. The three ghost ships approached Earth from different vectors, converging on the alien fleet as it began its final approach to the planet. Humanity's remaining conventional forces had withdrawn to Earth's immediate orbit, a last line of defense. The alien vessels detected the approaching threat and altered formation. Their first salvos, the same weapons that had annihilated Earth's military, lanced out toward the Thanatos. Dr. Rice braced for impact, but the beams passed harmlessly through the ship. "Phase displacement functioning," she confirmed. "They can't hit what isn't fully present in this dimensional plane." The Thanatos responded, its quantum destabilizers targeting the smallest alien vessel. A beam of colorless energy connected the two ships for a brief moment. Where it touched the alien hull, matter simply ceased to exist, creating a perfect cylindrical hole through the massive ship. "Direct hit," Rice reported. "Target compromised but still operational." Aboard the Nemesis, Wong watched as the CWA probed the alien fleet's communications. "I'm detecting an active network connecting all 7 vessels. It appears to be sentient. a collective consciousness. Can you disrupt it? Torres asked. I can do better, Wang replied. I can hijack it. The CWA sent precisely calibrated signals into the alien network, creating cascading failures and false inputs. Two of the alien vessels suddenly turned their weapons on each other, apparently unable to distinguish friend from foe. Meanwhile, the Phobos approached the largest alien vessel, releasing clouds of microscopic machines. The nanites attached to the alien hull, boring through and beginning their work of systematic disassembly. Nanite swarms deployed, Rodriguez reported. Estimate 30 minutes until significant structural compromise. The alien fleet responded with increasing desperation. One vessel detonated its power core in an apparent suicide attack, creating a shockwave that damaged the Phobos. Another launched some kind of gravity weapon that briefly caught the Thanatos, causing dangerous fluctuations in its phase displacement field. We can't maintain this advantage for long, Rise warned. The quantum destabilizers are overheating. If they fail, we'll materialize fully in normal space. The CWA is reaching critical power consumption, Wang added. The alien consciousness is adapting, building countermeasures. Torres's voice came through clearly. You have 1 hour to end this threat. After that, we'll have no choice but to attempt a planetary evacuation. The commanders of the Ghost Fleet exchanged looks through their comm screens. What Torres wasn't saying was obvious. Earth couldn't be evacuated in an hour. He was giving them permission to use their ship's ultimate capabilities, despite the risks. I'm initiating the Cascade Protocol, Rise announced grimly. Wang's face paled. Eliza, you can't. The simulations showed. I know what they showed. Do you have a better idea? After a moment, Wang shook his head. Providing support with Nemesis. James. Rodriguez nodded. Phobos will create the containment field. The Thanatos moved to the center of the alien formation, its systems pushing to maximum output. The quantum destabilizers were no longer firing targeted beams, but building toward a massive discharge. Cascade Protocol at 40%, Rise reported. Point of no return in 30 seconds. The alien vessels seemed to recognize the threat, all converging on the Thanatos with their most powerful weapons. The ship's phase displacement flickered dangerously. We won't survive this, Lieutenant Hassan said quietly. Rise nodded. We never expected to. The Phobos created a specialized containment field, using its nanites to form a three-dimensional lattice in space. The Nemesis positioned itself at the edge of this field, the CWA redirecting its power to reinforce the containment. Cascade at 90%, Rise announced. Containment field. As ready as it's going to be, Rodriguez replied. Nemesis standing by to collapse the field once the reaction is complete, Wang added. Rise took a deep breath. Initiating Cascade in 3, 2, 1. The Thanatos seemed to implode, collapsing into a point of brilliant light at its center. Then that point expanded, engulfing the ship and spreading outward in a sphere of distorted space. Where it touched the alien vessels, reality itself seemed to unravel. Matter didn't explode or disintegrate. It simply ceased to follow the laws of physics, twisting into impossible geometries before disappearing altogether. The containment field created by Phobos strained to hold the reaction, glowing with energies never meant to exist in normal space. After 62 seconds of controlled chaos, the Nemesis fired its CWA directly into the phenomenon, causing it to collapse in on itself. When normal space reasserted itself, the alien fleet was gone. So was the Thanatos. Containment successful, Rodriguez reported, his voice hollow. The Cascade reaction has been neutralized. In Earth Defense Command, stunned silence gave way to cautious celebration. Sensors confirmed all 7 alien vessels had been eliminated. The immediate threat had passed. Admiral Torres stared at the display showing the aftermath. Where a fierce battle had raged moments before, now there was just empty space, and a subtle distortion that the sensors couldn't quite define. We won, his XO said quietly. Torrid shook his head. No, we survived. There's a difference. In the following days, as Earth began to recover from the near-extinction event, debates raged about the ghost fleet. The Nemesis and Phobos remained in distant orbit, their very existence a violation of humanity's most sacred agreements. Chancellor Adeyemi addressed the Global Assembly. We faced annihilation, and were saved by weapons we ourselves deemed too terrible to use. Some call this hypocrisy. I call it the paradox of survival. The question now is, what do we do with these ships? Destroy them and risk being defenseless against future threats? Keep them and betray our own principles? There are no easy answers. Aboard the Nemesis, Dr. Wong received the transmission of the debate. What do you think they'll decide? Asked his second-in-command. Wong looked out at the stars. They'll do what humans always do, try to find a middle path between principle and pragmatism. They'll study these ships, learn from them, build safer versions. And us? Wong smiled sadly. We're part of the ghost fleet now. Too dangerous to keep around. Too valuable to throw away. They'll put us back to sleep, I imagine, until the next impossible threat appears. As he spoke, the sensors detected something at the edge of the solar system, a faint signal, similar to the beacon that had started it all. Should we report it? Asked his second. Wong stared at the reading for a long moment. No, he said finally. Let them have their debate. We know how it ends. The signal pulsed once, twice, then faded. But it had been there. A reminder that in the vast darkness between stars, humanity's awakening had been noticed, and the watchers were still watching.